Rampage through the streets. The youth are no longer chained. Let them go unto the dawn.
Hello everybody, this is Agent Erie, and let's just put it this way, I'm not under the weather, I'm over the weather, alright, but we're gonna start off this review of Rampage for the 16th of December, talking about the first match, and the first match is Jon Moxley versus Sammy Guevara. I would say it was very brutal. Sammy Guevara, I don't know what was going on. I think the dude just saw a whole bunch of brood matches and just really was into making him leak. Alright, I don't know if I could even mention what he did to him, but basically he chewed his ear. Okay, well first he was chewing his ear and then he basically got the earring out of Moxley. And then I think he chews on the ring and then throws it out. Dude's mouth is full of blood, Sammy, alright? See, I don't know if I should even say the word blood on YouTube, but the guy was kissing Tay, or Ty Mello, right? And as they're smooching, you could see that Sammy has a whole bunch of blood on his mouth, and they're kissing. I don't get it. I maybe he's a big fan of Twilight. I don't know, but it was a little out there. I'll tell you that. Eventually, after Sammy ends up smooching his girl for 5 hours, or what it seemed to be 5 hours. Eventually, Sammy gets Moxley on the turnbuckle, does the Spanish fly. As Mox is landing, he kind of jumps over Sammy, and he does a neck hold. Another word I don't know if I could even mention here on YouTube, but instead I'm gonna call it a neck hold. Well, he gets Sammy in a neck hold. Eventually, Sammy fades out, and that's the end of that match. Mox then goes on the mic and states, "Hey, I'm right here. Come get some." And we're striking each other. Officials, they separate them. Adam Page, he gets to do the buckshot lariat, hits an innocent official. I don't understand. You're a babyface and yet you're striking innocent people. The next segment is Saraya. They replay the whole the Saraya being interviewed. Then Britt Baker comes along and she said, "Here's some tickets. You could go ahead and see this match between Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker versus whoever, or you could get into the ring and fight us. So you better find a partner." Then the FTR segment starts, and this segment, basically the most babyface segment I have ever seen. I know you guys probably think I'm really exaggerating, but no, I never knew these guys had the potential to be this babyface. I've seen them do, good guy promos. I'm sorry, but, I just don't know if I'm worthy of your appreciation and your adoration. Basically, they did that times 10, and somehow Dax was able to moon the crowd and still have them behind him. Yes, I know. Yeah, I could crack jokes too. But, these guys, they lost their ROH tag team titles to the Briscoes, but they're way over, so you can't take that away from them. They still have those two other tag team titles, and basically they're gonna face the Top Guns on AEW Dynamite this week. Next, we get Jade Cargill, and she has her segment. Basically, she's in the back being interviewed with the baddies. She basically states, oh, last week or on Wednesday, basically they had a match with Kiera Hogan. Jade left her salty. And then she stated that if Bow Wow ever wanted to interrupt her anywhere ever again, that pervert Bow Wow, that she'll be calling Mark Sterling. Come on, use him for something. But yeah, I don't understand what this problem is between her and Bow Wow. Bow Wow better recognize, you better stop being a perv, you better stop behaving like swervy perv. Just be a man, Bow Wow. I know you see this young Jade Cargill, and she's what you can never be, and it hurts you. You just stand there in the corner, just barking, going bow, wow, 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 and people go, oh my, like, is this kid? Is he all there? And then does Snoop Dogg even talk to you, bro? Snoop Dogg actually hangs out with a gangsta, an original gangsta, Martha Stewart. We get Dr. Britt Baker, and she faces off with Skye Blue. For whatever reason, they don't give Skye Blue an entrance. It's just, she's already in the ring, and then they bring out Britt Baker with Jamie Hayter and Rebel. She did a lot of dark matches, and she just came to the main roster a couple weeks ago. But hey, they gotta, cut time for Dr. Britt Baker. She does this butterfly driver. I don't know what it is, but it looks mighty intense. Dr. Britt Baker, she tries to get her gloves so she can do the lockjaw. She gets distracted. Eventually, Skye Blue gets her in, I don't know what you'd call this move, but basically I call it when moons collide. Eventually, Britt Baker, she does the stomp to her, pins her 1, 2, 3 successfully. Britt Baker, Rebel, Jamie Hayter, all of them, they're all, basking in glory. And Britt Baker, a heel, got the heel. She cinches in that lockjaw and that unconscious Skye Blue. But guess who comes to the rescue? Hikaru Shida. Hikaru comes in, she whacks Rebel. She whacks Dr. Britt Baker. She goes in. I think she even throws the kendo stick at Britt Baker. I think she's trying to break her nose. Then she gets up to Jamie Hayter, gets right there next to her face, in her face. They start yelling. Jamie Hayter puts her belt up in the air. They both just argue with each other, and then Jamie Hayter leaves the ring with the rest of the pack, and they just leave the ring. Got a segment with Preston Vance. He was one of the individuals who was in the Dark Order, but somehow the LFI, they convinced him, Roosh specifically, and Elita Low convinced him, hey, get out of there. Well, basically, he's being interviewed by good old JR. He tells JR, hey, listen, who's your boss? JR says, well, that'd be Tony Khan. And he says, oh, good. It's not a 4-year-old. And he's kind of right. Just think about it. Imagine being in a job and this kid, even let's say he's the best behaved kid ever, does he really have experience in the wrestling industry? So Vance basically says, hey, you know what? That's why I left. When Brody Lee was alive, he basically picked me. And I'm sorry that whatever happened to Brody Lee happened, and that kid had to suffer through all that. But hey, you know what? I need to go where I'm wanted, where people view me and my potential. So in a sense, you kind of don't feel bad for Preston. Alright, then we have Wardlow versus Exodus Prime. Exodus Prime looks like he probably came from the planet Statlander, but he also looks pretty tough. And I thought that they were at least not going to have him get squashed by Wardlow. But guess what? I was wrong. Basically, the only move he really does is a flex, a headbutt. Then Wardlow goes, nah, not today. So then he headbutts poor Exodus Prime. He then does that lariat. He then power bombs him and then gets the symphony started. He ends the symphony with like the fourth power bomb, pins him 1, 2, 3. He then calls out Samoa Joe, says, hey, it's time you defend that title. Samoa Joe, Mr. King of TV, starting to look more like Samoa Schmo. I don't understand this little gimmick he has going on. He's very full of himself. I get it. He's a heel. Of course, he has to be full of himself. Main event of the night, Best Friends and Dustin Rhodes versus Butcher and the Blade and Trent Seven and Kip Sabian. Okay. They have that interview in the back, the pre-fight interview. Mark Henry is interviewing them. Basically, Butcher and the Blade, basically, like always, we're going to see you suffer. We're going to do all these things I can't mention on YouTube because it'd be too brutal, and this video would be brought down. Trent Seven, he says some, I don't know, very poetic, very dark. Kip Sabian, I think he follows him in that sense with that whatever incoherent sentences he's espousing. This time, I will say this. I think they actually let Best Friends talk. And Best Friends say, hey, you have some inconsistencies with what you guys said. And then they go, okay, well, I guess we're ready. This time, I did not see Orange Cassidy try to imitate Mark Henry. I guess he learned his lesson. Alright then. In the beginning of the match, if I remember right, Trent Beretta and Kip Sabian are both in the middle of the ring. Trent Beretta then tells Kip, hey, get Trent 7 inside the ring, so it could be the battle of the Trents. Whatever, you gotta do what you gotta do to bring viewers. And also, another thing I'd like to point out is, for some odd reason, Danhausen keeps looking at Dustin Beretta. He's supposed to dive outside, and right before diving outside, Chuck Taylor intercepts him with the hug. Everybody pops, and then both of them dive. And then when they dive, then Kip Sabian, he does this impressive springboard moonsault. Then after that, Dustin Rhodes, he wants to show, hey, you know what? I still got it in me, and he does a cannonball senton on them. Pretty impressive. I imagine he's probably aching right now from doing those spots, though. Yes, well, a spot that I would say a lot of people would find comedic value in it is Orange Cassidy. He starts pretending like he got hit in the old full gears, and he's right next to the bunny. And when the ref looks back, he goes, whoa, what's going on? And then as that's happening, and he's looking at the bunny, Danhausen comes in, and then he basically also falls on the floor, behaving like he got kicked in the full gears. Then the ref looks back, looks at Penelope Ford, and then basically throws him out. Both Orange Cassidy and Danhausen are in the mat, behaving like they got kicked in full gears. Kind of reminds me of some that Eddie Guerrero would do. A little homage to him. Up to him and just punches him in the full gear region. Dustin Rhodes in the match does the Canadian Destroyer. Pretty impressive. Or as some of you recognize it as the Panama Sunrise. Just Dustin trying to show he still got it in him. I don't blame him. Dustin was going to then do the unnatural kick to Kip Sabian, but then right before doing it, for some of you who don't know, the unnatural kick is the Shattered Dreams, from you guys who remember him as Goldust in the WWF/WWE. He's going to do the unnatural kick, but right before doing it, the ref, tells him, hey, what's going wrong? Orange Cassidy then does a feint kick combo in the full gear area of Kip Sabian. Kip does not appreciate that, but then the ref looks at Orange Cassidy, gets distracted, and as he's distracted, Dustin goes for the unnatural kick. He then bulldogs Trent Seven, the legal man, pins him 1, 2, 3, and there you go. There's your winners of the match. Alright, people. Like, subscribe, comment, share. What do you guys think of my coverage of AEW Rampage? Is it garbage? Is it horrible? Is his voice is it too ghoulish for you guys to understand? I don't care. You either like it or not. Alright, people. Have a good one. Like I always mention to you, always cry yourself to sleep.